Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Pie Records, and I'm very excited to have Jeff Big Tiki Dude Hanson back on the show. How are you, Jeff?
Okay. It's definitely winter, and not that we're freezing or snow or anything out here, but it's cool and chilly. The last couple pools I was doing today, it was windy and 50, and I was like, and then I
50
go,
in
wait a minute,
LA?
yeah, and I go, wait a minute, I don't have to shovel snow. Don't complain.
Yeah, yeah. We're pretty lucky we haven't had any yet, but
Well,
February.
there's snow up on the mountains that it's like an hour, 2 hours from here.
Yeah,
So sometimes when the wind blows over the snow, we get a cold wind from the north.
yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't snow where I live since like 1955, I think they said.
Wow. Well, first I want to mention, since we're talking about the weather, the Winter Surf Fest.
Well,
I
first thing,
okay.
real quick, did you enjoy SG 101? Did you have a great time out here?
Okay, now that everybody's listening and we're both here, Jeff and Craig Skelly put me up. I had a wonderful time. It was like a completely different planet. Like being out there in all the different beaches and in LA and just being there.
Like total submersion,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
surf overload. Were you like blown away?
I was blown away. And the one takeaway, I'm not going to take away from any of the bands, but the one that surprised me was the Mach 4.
Oh yeah, they're great.
They were so that one dude when he dances around the stage was so rad.
Yeah, Mel.
Yeah,
He's, I don't know. Do you know Meshuggah Beach Party?
no.
They do all Jewish folk songs, surf style, and they
Uh-huh.
dress up like rabbis and stuff.
Is
So
he in that band?
Mel's the leader and founder of Meshuggah Beach Party also, and he used to have a band in Montreal, Canada, called the Meltones, Los Meltones, back in
Oh,
the
okay.
'90s. Yeah, he was going to school. I think he's from New York, and then he was going to school in Montreal, and then he moved out to San Francisco area.
So tell me about this Winterfest.
So Winter Surf Fest is the type of thing where do you know what the NAM convention is?
Yeah,
National Association of Music Merchants.
yeah,
So
it's
they
a
used big convention of all the people that make guitars and amps and all that stuff. So when they used to do the NAM convention in January or February, Deke Dickerson, he used to be in the Untamed Youth, the surf band, but then he does like rockabilly roots rock type stuff. He used to do an event on the weekend of NAM called the Guitar Geek Festival, and that was usually like Friday and Saturday, or it's usually just Saturday, and then the last two he did Friday and Saturday. But I came up with the idea of doing the Winter Surf Fest on the Sunday of that weekend, and usually it's half the amount of bands that I do at the surf convention. So if the surf convention is 12, I do six, at the Winter Fest. Then he stopped doing the Guitar Geek Festival on the weekend of NAM. He does a smaller one at Viva Las Vegas, but he stopped doing the bigger one, and it was just a lot of cost and a lot of headache for him to do it. But enough about that. Winter Surf Fest, it's just local bands, but occasionally we'll have one international band, maybe a band from NorCal or something like that. But this year, I'm teaming up with Christopher Burkhart from Stellar Shows. He's the guy that books the bands at the Secret Island
uh-huh.
in Long Beach, the Tiki Bar, and other places. There's a place in Long Beach. It's called the Pacific or the PCH Club, which stands for Pacific Coast Highway. For those who don't know, PCH Club at the Golden Sales Hotel. And for those that went to the Paul Johnson benefit a few years back, the Golden Sales Hotel is right next door to the Gas Lamp, where we had the benefit for PJ. So, anyways, we're gonna do a 2 night at the PCH Club, and then we'll do Friday night at Secret Island. So it's a 3 day or 3 night show, and we're gonna
Wow.
make it a weekender type of thing, where it's like Tiki Oasis or Viva Las Vegas, where it's technically at a hotel, and you can get a little more loose, maybe party and drink a little bit more, not have to worry about driving.
Yeah.
Like I did say, the Friday night show is at Secret Island. So if you do want to drink, you might want to get an Uber. But Secret Island is like maybe 5 or 6 miles from the PCH Club. It's not too far. But
Okay.
so that's Friday night. Saturday is like 3 to 9 or 3 to 10, and then the Sunday is early. We start at noon and go to 6. So if anyone's flying out, for the event, you can still hit the airport and get back home by, Sunday night.
What
So
are the dates?
the date is February 3rd through the 5th.
Okay.
And another thing I like to book this as is for anybody that lives, far away that's not here in Southern California. If you're tired of the winter weather, even though we do have winter here in Southern California, it's not as bad as other places. So I tell people, hey, if you want to get away from your frozen tundra, come and hang out in SoCal. It's usually between 55 and 65 during the day, and maybe 40 at night. It's definitely not as bad as some other places.
Totally, totally. It could be like 30 degrees here and like at night, and then like in the morning it's like 80.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a little bit of global warming, but there's also
Maybe.
places where it'll get down to 40 below, in the in
Yeah.
the in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I can't even wrap my head around that. I think the lowest we get here is maybe 32.
Yeah.
That's very rare.
So
Overnight, that is.
you had the Huntington Beach Pier shows this summer and
Well,
into the fall. How did they go?
yeah, the peer shows were all good. We COVID's still a thing. I hate to keep talking about it, but it's definitely an issue. And it's an issue for the Winter Surf Fest. But if everybody's vaccinated and masked up and stuff, we can do things. But the peer show turnouts and the surf convention turnout, they're all a little bit lower than what they used to be. But I'm hoping that things get back to quote unquote normal at some point. Did you want me to
Yeah.
go over the list of bands for the Winter Surf Fest?
Well, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the Friday night at Secret Island, that's Little Kahuna, that's Craig Skelly's band.
Yep.
And then we have a band visiting from Belgium, and that is the Santa Ana Bay Coconuts.
Oh yes, I just talked to them about that.
Right on. And then on Saturday, this is all going from memory because I don't have the flyer in front of me, but I'll send you the image and hopefully you can add it at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
The Saturday we have Lorenzo Surfer Joe from
Nice.
Italy. Then we have the Tourmaliners from San
Mark,
Diego.
Devin.
Then we have two local bands, the Blackball Bandits
Yep.
on Double Crown Records, and then we have a local band, kind of newer, that just started up. They're called the Deweys, and it's Armin that used to be in the Torquays, and then just recently Mac, Jeff McDonald from Outer Wave, just joined them on the rhythm guitar. So that's a nice little 4-piece, totally traditional. They do some Torquays songs, they do some new songs, and a few cool like old '60s covers. And then on Sunday, the headliner is the Santa Ana Bay Coconuts. And then rehash from the convention, we have the Scimitars because
Oh,
they're just so good. Got to have them again. And then let me think, two bands from NorCal. We have Lewis Bailey's band, the Nova Rays.
oh
He
yeah.
decided to change the name of his current band to the Nova Rays, which was the name of his band when he was in Florida. So we got the
Right.
Nova Rays, which is Lewis Bailey's band, and then the Chillingsworth Surfing Ham.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
John Ashford's band.
And they were both
So
at the convention last year.
yeah, they were both at the convention, and I don't think they're still a bit young to have at a convention, but I think that they're definitely worth having, at a Winterfest. And they came down. I think it was after you left. They did a Secret Island show and then a Pier show the day after, and they both bands were really good and blew me away. So I figured they were definitely ready. So that's all the bands for Winter Surf Fest. Ryan will put the little flyer down at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's discounted rate for the hotel. Call the number on the flyer during business hours during the day, and you can get a room for 120 instead of the normal 160.
Oh
And
wow.
then tickets for the show you get from the stellarshows.net website. and there's different seating prices for how close you want to get to the stage. I think there's 2 or 3 different levels for that. So usually I just pay, people just pay at the door for my shows, but Chris Burkhart's got a whole thing about seating and paying and stuff like that. So we'll see how this works out. Some people that come from far away, like they like to get their tickets ahead of time to make sure that they're getting in. So this might be a good thing for them.
I have a kind of off-topic question for you. Is
Hit me.
John Paul playing in all the bands this festival?
Not all, but 2. One on Saturday and one on Sunday. He'll
That was
play with
quite a
Lorenzo.
sight to see.
He'll play with Lorenzo on Saturday, and he'll play with Scimitars on Sunday.
Nice.
So only 2, not 2/3 of the bands.
So what else do you want to talk about? You want to talk about next year's convention? What your
Well,
plans are?
the Pier shows, I don't have the dates in front of me. They're in my phone, but we're going to be actually April through October. No, well, fingers crossed, unless something comes up weather-wise, or a special event comes up. We have been trumped by the city of Huntington Beach, but April through October there'll be Pier shows, and I just got those dates recently, so I'll be booking those. Usually 6 or 7 bands at each one of those. So that's quite a coup to actually have 7 dates this year.
Wow.
Well, I shouldn't say this year, I should say next summer. But anyways, and then the surf convention, I still need to book a venue. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do it at this PCH club or if I want to look into getting something else. But I'm working on the lineup for that, and there's a possibility of 8 international bands.
Wow.
I was only wanting 4, but all these bands kept coming to me, for special things and stuff. And so maybe a couple of them might fall through, because of the cost and, getting here and personal stuff. But I've had 8. Oh, I mean, I've had 20 bands contact me, but I'm up to 8, the possible international. And I'm thinking about doing it 2 or 3 days, like I'm doing with this winter surf fest,
Yeah.
instead of just one day, so making it a more of a weekender thing, more like Surfer Joe Festival in Italy, where that's like 4 nights.
Yeah.
So anyways, I hope to be announcing the lineup for the Surf Guitar 101 on the weekend of the Winter Surf Fest. That's usually what I do. I announce it in person at the Winter Fest, and then on the Monday, the day after, I put it online. So
That's awesome.
that'll be in February. I'll announce that.
I'm very stoked to hear you guys are doing this in the winter because for so long we had nothing. We had no shows.
Yeah.
And I've been starting to go to shows again, because they're opening up. And I think as long as everybody's careful, it'll be good for you guys out there.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where we have shows all the time, but it's all depends on how big they are and how well they get promoted and stuff. There's bar shows at Secret Island and other places, just nothing big, nothing outside. I mean, we can have nice weather here in the winter where you could do an outside show, but you can't plan it ahead of time. I mean, even the April Pier show has been rained out before,
Yeah.
most of the time, 95% of the time it's fine, but you can get a fluke storm, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, sorry, everybody, it's Mother Nature. But
For-
it's not like the East Coast where it rains in the summer. We only
Yeah.
really get rain in the winter, a little bit in the spring.
I do want to mention to anybody who hasn't been to the Huntington Beach Pier show or know what it is, it's on Huntington Beach. And last year when I went to visit Jeff and go to SG 101, I was lucky enough to go to the museum, the surf museum, and see where the shows for the pier are.
So
And
Craig showed you where it's at.
and I was like, man, it's like you're on a different planet when you actually get to see a surf show on the beach.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
cool.
I do encourage everybody to go to
We used to do a show at the beach on the day after the surf convention in August, but we were finding that there was a lot of people that were coming to the pier show and not going to the convention.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the convention you have to pay to get in. A pier show, there's no way to charge, so that's free.
Right.
So you got bands coming from far away, and they're people are not paying for two different shows. So then what we started doing is convention is, say usually $40. And then on Sunday we would do a show where if the bands had enough material, they would play an alternate set on Sunday, different music. And then the show would be smaller, maybe only 6 bands instead of 12, and people would pay $20 for that instead of 40. So if you're really hardcore, you can see them 1 or 2 times before the convention weekend, and then Saturday and Sunday. So you can see a band sometimes do 3 or 4 shows,
Nice.
and hopefully every time would be, different, So, and we're giving the bands a lot more money, which is nice, especially if they're coming from far away. It costs money for travel and for hotel stay and food and car rental and
Right.
everything. So, it's one of those things, we don't want to milk the crowd, for money, but at the same time, we don't want the bands playing for peanuts,
Right.
we,
Right.
we need this to be profitable for the bands. Otherwise, they're not going to do it.
I have to ask the question: why is it the demand that you're doing a Winterfest?
No, we've been doing it for a while. I think I haven't really kept track of the numbers. Convention's been 13, and I think there's probably been 6 or 7 Winterfests
Okay.
in the past. I'd have to look for the flyers. They're kind of all over the place, not really all in one place. Like we keep track of the surf convention stuff, but I'd say probably 3 or 4 years into the convention is when we started doing the Winterfest. Also, like I said, Deke Dickerson was doing his Guitar Geek Fest, and I decided to do that the same weekend. He stopped doing it, but I kept going.
Okay.
I even asked him, I said, "Are you cool with me doing this on the same weekend?" He goes, "If you're on Sunday," he goes, "why would I care?" I go, "Well, I don't want to feel like I'm riding on your coattails or anything." And he goes, "Oh, it's nice of you to ask, but it's America. You can do whatever you want." But yeah, I would go to his event and hand out flyers. So anybody that was in SoCal for the NAM and for the Winter Surf and the Guitar Geek Fest, I would give them a flyer. And some people had never heard of it. Just because you post stuff on the internet doesn't mean everybody knows about it. So sometimes it's
Right.
nice to actually hand out physical flyers for shows also.
Awesome. So before we go, I want you to show me your CDs.
Show you well, in terms of the ones in the room that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not all of them. It's like it's probably 1/5 or 1/6 of all my CDs. But yeah, right here in front of this TV that I watch sometimes is a big stacks of CDs. So I'll turn the phone around this so everybody can see them. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
slept next to those CDs for 3 nights.
and I buy stuff more all the time, and just keeps growing and growing. I have a bunch of racks in my bedroom that I need to mount to the wall and even mount above the closet. There's an area of like 2 feet of space where I can actually mount 2 of them horizontally because I'm tall enough I can reach up there. Just and I need to find space for all these racks and mount them, and then finally alphabetize everything. Now, I've got 2 boxes that are 3 by 3 by 3 that are full of CDs that I haven't seen in probably 6 or 8 years.
Wow.
It's gotten out of control.
I know what you mean. Like, I just alphabetized my entire record collection,
Wow.
and I was overdue because it was a mess.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I
So,
mean, if I didn't have a day job and I could do radio shows, I do a surf show, I do a Hawaiian/Tiki Exotica show, I do metal show, I could do regular classic rock show, I could even do like jazz, easy listening show. I've got so many different things that I'm into.
uh, by the way, how is your radio show going?
I haven't started it yet. For those who don't know, my mom passed away on the weekend of the Surf Guitar 101 convention. So, needless to say, that was a bit intense, so to speak. Of course, I didn't cancel, had bands and fans from all over the place there. So I had to carry on, but it was tough. But being around friends and you know, stuff that weekend definitely helped. But it's been a little bit of a depression mode for me, you know, dealing with all that. So, you know, the guy that runs GTF hasn't even contacted me. He probably knows that I'm not really in the headspace for doing it, but I was thinking about that actually the other day, that I should contact him and let him know that, you know, I'm willing to, you know, start that up maybe after the first of the year or something like that. Thought about even doing a Christmas music show, but I just, you know, I'm so overwhelmed with stuff right now with, you know, getting my pools done with a shorter work day, but also like, you know, decorating the house. Do I want to do that? Do I want to put Christmas lights up? And I'm just like, not really in the mood, you know,
Yeah.
but I was thinking I should contact him about possibly starting up doing the show. But thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
When I do start it, I'll probably do it once a month. You know, some of the
Okay.
DJs don't do every week. I think Clint Beachwood, he does once a month, you know, and then it just replays each week until he does a new one.
Yeah. Okay. All
So,
right.
but I
Well,
do got enough stuff to play, you know, whether it's new or old. I got tons of things to play. I just need to get around and get to it.
well, I hope the best for you. And I was really sorry to see what you guys were going through this summer.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Y-
It's tough, you know, totally unexpected, you know, losing my mom. But
yeah.
these things happen sometimes.
All right, man. Well, not to end on a down note.
I'm
Uh,
not here.
you got a lot of great things coming up this year, and I'm very excited for you that you have all this planned out. And I
Yeah,
wanted to show those CDs to people because I wanted them to know that you're not just booking these bands, you're listening to all this stuff in your truck all day long from place to place.
yeah. I wanted to tell anybody, if you want more info on any of the shows that I mentioned and you can't find it online, to send me an email at big tiki dude at yahoo.com, or to find me on Facebook as Jeff Hanson, and then in parentheses, big tiki dude. And I can answer your questions about if you want to come out and where to stay, and you know what the dates are for the pier shows, you know, the April through October. It's one Sunday a month. You know, I can give you all that info if you want to write me. And like, some people come, you know, SoCal on vacation, they're like, hey, what shows are going on? Well, it's like, write me ahead of time, like way in advance. I can give you the dates, and then you can plan your vacation, you know, around those dates. But um Winter Surf Fest, February 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Long Beach. Surf Guitar 101 convention, last weekend of July. Haven't figured out the actual venue yet, but it might be the Long Beach one or somewhere near there.
All right. It was great talking to you, Jeff. And I know it's later in the day for you, and I just appreciate you reaching out to me because you do work so hard on this, and I know people appreciate you for
Well, yeah, I appreciate you doing these videos. I lost track of keeping up on. You've been doing so many, you know,
it.
that I need to catch up. But I appreciate you doing these. I'm sure the bands all like it and stuff. And you know, we all got to work on spreading the word on surf. Otherwise, it seems like it kind of falls through the cracks. You know, I always tell people that there's a list of 25 reasons why people don't go to shows. You know, but if you don't know about it at all, then of course you can't go at
Yeah,
all. So
yeah,
we got to get the word out on shows, and then, you know, hopefully people will make the decision to support.
definitely, definitely. Well,
All right,
Jeff,
man.
have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Have a good one.